Hello. In my last video about Narcissist 1, Narc 1, in which was the letters of a narcissist part 3, I stopped in the moment where I said I broke up with her practically, and then she left my house, and now I wanted to keep telling you about some other things that happened after I ended the relationship with her. And because they are part of the story, they are part of the suffering, of the confusion that I felt being I don't remember how old I was, if I mentioned it in the previous videos, but probably 15, 16 years old I was. And in the same night, one of the things that we spoke in the conversation here in my house, in which I told her we couldn't keep having the relationship. One of the things that she said to me was that I didn't think she was important to me, and for some reason that stuck in my mind. It was an afternoon, and so at night I did something that I never thought I would ever do in my life. That was a very disturbing conversation to start with, okay? Any relationship with narcissists, I don't have to tell anyone that they are disturbing. And then you add several layers of negative stuff that happens. One of those layers is that the relationship is disturbing. I was pretty disturbed. I couldn't even sleep. I woke up at 5:30 in the morning in the day that I had to break up with this girl, because I was so disturbed about the conversation that I was going to have with her. And then she left, and I kept being disturbed. In being sensitive and emotional during the night, and because part of that decision was an advice given to me by my parents and by my rational side. Part of me didn't want the relationship to end naturally, and at night I was disturbed. I told myself, well, if I could just talk to this girl without anyone knowing and explain to her that yes, she was important to me. Go figure why I had this thinking. Why, I don't know. And if I could talk to her, it would be good. So I did something that I never thought I would do in my life. I wait until it was between 11 o'clock p.m. to midnight. Everyone was asleep. I jumped my bedroom's window, went out of the house, the porch would make too much noise to open, so I didn't open. I jumped the wall, the front wall. I jumped it and I climbed the wall and got out of the house without making any noise, without telling my parents. And but by the time that I jumped my bedroom window, part of me was telling myself, what am I doing? There's something very wrong in this. And today I know it was my intuition. I was trembling. I was nervous. But the thing is, I needed to go there, and being too young, I needed to go there and tell her that she was important to me. Empathy. The fact I didn't know what was going on. I just knew that I had to go there and tell her. And I was trembling. Things were saying, this is wrong. You shouldn't be doing this. What is going wrong with you? But I went on foot. I went to her house, which is not far, very far. It's, you have my street, and her house is in just the other street. It was at the time. No movement in the streets. And as I approached her home, her house, I saw that she was sitting in front of her house in the sidewalk with somebody else. I said, oh, my plans of being discreet are gone. But not only that, I still had the courage to keep approaching. And who do I see sitting there by her side? Just sitting in front of her? Her boyfriend. And I, being the stupid boy that I was, I said, I needed to come here and say that despite the conversation that we had today, you are really important to me. And it was very awkward, terribly awkward moment. But I didn't have the sensitivity to fully realize the awkwardness of the situation and what that meant. At the time, I had no idea. I just know now what that meant. But at the time, I was too disturbed, too entrapped in her perspective and her distorted perspective of seeing things. But the image that stuck with me was when I looked into her boyfriend's eyes, and they were firing with rage. If you ever looked rage in the eyes, and probably hurt, but mostly rage, those were the eyes that I saw that night, and I never forgot them. Never forgot those eyes. Burning, the fire of rage in her boyfriend's eyes. And she was just mostly looking at the ground. I don't remember what does that mean, but I don't think it's a good sign when a woman looks at the ground. Mostly I think that means that she was very displeased with my presence there. And I said, well, there's nothing to do here anymore. So I said, okay, bye. Okay, bye. And I turned around and went back home. My legs were trembling. My whole body was cold and hot at the same time. I felt kind of disappointed. They were sitting there with their legs crossed, looking at each other. And I went back and jumped to my room at the front porch. I jumped it and went inside my house again. Jumped, but entered by the window to my bed. And it was very embarrassing to have done that. And I thought to myself, why did I do it? Why did I do this? And my idea of my romantic idea for that night didn't happen. I don't think it meant anything for her. Of course it didn't mean anything for her telling her that she was important. And that was probably just a manipulative thing that she planned on me. It's very hard to know where my responsibility was, to which extent I was being controlled, emotionally toyed with, and to which extent I was responsible for my actions. It's very tricky. I still haven't resolved that matter in my mind. And now I take the conclusions, several conclusions. One of them is that you see that the narcissist, you mean so little to a narcissist that at the same night that I dumped her, she was already with a boyfriend, getting supply. Talking too late at night. And that doesn't mean anything. Maybe it was always like this, but it never occurred to me that, oh, so this is the importance that I had in her life. The relationship is over. Instead of her being all by herself upset, she's already talking to her boyfriend. It just felt strange, and it feels strange. I don't know why. And I don't want to keep thinking about it. The other thing that I want to tell you is that you think about the risk that I ran, that my mind couldn't see. The risk that her boyfriend, with his rage, he could have beaten me up. He could have, if he was a very violent person, seeing me arrive at between 11 o'clock and midnight in his girlfriend's house to tell her she was special. If he was violent, he could have killed me with his rage. And my family would be, what? My son got out of the house at 11 midnight p.m. and was killed by somebody who was, they would understand that the girl was the reason, but not that I was capable of getting out of the house at that time, because I never done something like this. And I could have been killed. I could have been beaten up by her boyfriend. And she probably would be very glad about it. And then, little by little, I started to think about it. I said, my God, my intuition was telling me, what are you doing? This is crazy. This is dangerous. And I didn't listen. And it really was dangerous. It was crazy. I could have been assassinated. I could have been beaten up. And the whole shame, because you go to the hospital and everybody gets to know what happened. My desire of secrecy would be in vain, Nothing would have been the way I wanted. Everybody in the town would know, oh, he was beaten up by the girl's boyfriend because he went there and they were having an affair. To her, it doesn't make any difference because she was already a very promiscuous girl, but to me, it would have been an additional hurt. It would have been shameful because I never liked to be, I was always a very private boy. I wanted all to keep my life to myself, and that would have been a shame. And that's an episode that I said, my God, this is crazy. Why did I do this? And then a few days later, I got the information that she went to a birthday party, and for some reason the lights got turned off, and when the lights got turned on, she was kissing another woman. That's when I discovered that she was bisexual. And now that I know the narcissists, they have serious doubts about their sexuality. Many of them are bisexual. And I guess mainly because of the hormone testosterone that they have in higher levels. Even if she's a girl, she probably have higher levels of testosterone, which makes them more competitive, more aggressive, and of course, because the narcissist doesn't know what he is or who he is, he's always in doubt about his, not always, okay, always a very strong word, but he's in doubt about his sexuality, and many are gays or homosexuals or lesbians or bisexual. And the mask, the illusion that I had about this girl, Narc 1, started to fall. And that character, that illusion that she showed me that she was, I began to see, and I began to feel more ashamed. My God, she's a bisexual. She was kissing another girl, and my ideal love, my ideal image of a woman that I want, it's not about it, this thing. With all respect, I'm talking just about my experience and my what I want for my life. And then years later I talked to another girl, and then she tells me that Narc 1 told me that I had sex with her, which was a lie, complete lie. And then I realized, I was very angry, as I told in another video, but then I realized, boy, that woman hated me. Because until today, my reputation is well, people treat me okay here, okay, but I know that behind all the facade, many people here think I had a relationship with that bad girl there, Narc 1. And I was very, very angry, and then I realized that no, that woman was not right. That woman was unfair. She was dangerous, and I was misled. I was lied to. I was taken, I've been taken for a ride with that woman. And after I got discarded by Narc 2, I thought about my past with Narc 1, and I said, Oh, that's what it was all about. It was narcissistic rage. She felt injured and then she trashed me, my reputation, because that's the only attack that she could make at me, give me at the time, right? She couldn't attack me in any other way. And she went crazy, you know. After I dumped her, the news that I got is that she went crazy. You know, she kissed this girl and she probably looked for the supply, all the supply that she could get to soothe the rejection that I gave her. And then the mask fell. And now I know that it was too late, but I got to know what it was all about. That I was being controlled more and more. If I had been in a relationship with her, I had physical contact with her, sexual contact, things would have been much worse. I would be like a toy without personal preferences. My personality would have vanished. It was going to be ridiculous for me. So my parents gave the right advice, and I'm glad that I followed it. And it was very risky, very risky. Sometimes I feel afraid, you know, and sometimes I think, boy, that guy could have beaten me to death or killed me. I really escaped a very dangerous trap. That's all I wanted to say. There's more to say about Narc 1, but I'm gonna say the rest of the story about Narc 1 when I talk about Narc 2. Just another thing that I forgot to say about that time is that my mother came to me and asked, did you have a sexual relationship with that woman? And I told her, no mom, no mom, we didn't have sex, it was just the letters. Not just, okay, it was the letters and the conversations that we had, but we never had any sexual contact. And my mom said, okay, I believe you. But she came to me to ask this question because the uh, the boyfriend's mother talked to my mom. Okay, and she said, well, your son had sex with that girl. And my mom came and asked me. I said, no, I didn't have sex with her. And my mom went there and said, my son says he didn't have sex with her. And this woman said, yes, he did. So she believed the narcissist. Of course, as always, they believed the narcissist. The narcissist has control. He persuades everybody around him. And the truth, even though it is the truth, it looks like the truth becomes the lie. The truth has no value. People want to believe. As always, you want to believe the narcissist, don't you? And so everybody. They want to believe the lie because the lie is more pretty than the truth that the narcissist is a piece of crap, piece of shit. And the truth is that this woman's son was having a relationship with a slut, with a narcissist, and she didn't want to see the truth that I didn't have sexual relationships with that woman because she was dangerous. But we had an emotional affair. But because Narc 1 wanted to trash my reputation, she told everybody that we had sex, perhaps to become, and I don't even know, you can add to this, perhaps she wanted to give the impression that she was a victim, and which is classic, we all know that, and perhaps she wanted to make her boyfriend jealous in order to induce in her boyfriend some kind of violent reaction against me, and that is more danger towards me. Okay, he could have done also something, even if he didn't do at that night. She was making him so mad by telling that we had sex that he could have planned to do something to me, to hurt me, you know, call some friends and get me somewhere in town when I least expected, beating me up, killing me. It's a very dangerous, and my luck, I got lucky. My luck was that he was not a violent man, and he didn't do drugs. He was just a, he's just a silly man, but he was not violent. But many narcissists engage in relationships with violent people, with addicted people, with other narcissists, other people with just character disturbance. And I was very lucky that this guy was not like that. He was very hurt, I can imagine. But he probably, you know, everybody in town used to say that she was promiscuous, and the thing about the birthday party in which she kissed another woman, he also got to know that, and he was probably very used to hearing those things from her. And the relationship between them broke. They separated for some reason, I don't know why. And everything changed, and she moved out of this town. She moved out, and she got involved with some horrible fat guy. Not that he was horrible because he was fat. Okay, he was just an ugly man, and you could see that he was very stupid and controlled by her. She wants always to be the controller. And she had sons with him, girls with him, and then they separated, and then she became a truck driver, and she could get some supply circles everywhere. You think of a narcissist being a truck driver, that means they can get supply and not get bored, always new supply everywhere where they go. And I got the news that she was very promiscuous during her trips, and she was doing very depraved things during her trips, and living a completely crazy life. Risky behavior, risky profession, being a truck driver, and promiscuity, and supply, and she's now married with another truck driver, and a friend told me about a visit that she did, and that even though she's married, she was saying she had a date arranged with another guy, and then she left the visitors. She said, "Oh, I have to go now." and she left the visitors in her house and the husband who was working in the roads to go and meet her supply. She is a somatic narcissist, so it is always about sex. So that's Narc 1, that's the story of Narc 1. And the danger of being involved in narcissists. Thank you for your time.